Hi, friends. In this episode, you're going to find out why National Visa Center and the State Department are so slow. Now, even though there's vaccines being distributed worldwide, especially in America, thankfully. Now, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world. Now, here, let's get down to it. Now, first, the Department of State and National Visa Center has acknowledged that they have a large number of cases pending, right? But to give you an idea, fiscal year 2019, National Visa Center processed about 240,446 cases that were documentarily qualified. And documentary qualified means, some people call that DQ, and that means the government has received your financial evidence, specifically W-2, tax returns, and the affidavit of support from the sponsor, which is typically the petitioner, the U.S. citizen or resident. Now, but in fiscal year 2020, National Visa Center processed 321,274 cases that were documentarily qualified. So that is about at least 80,000 more than the previous fiscal year. Now, by the way, all these notes and answers that we have in our office is from directly the Department of State and the National Visa Center. This is specifically from my association that I'm a member of, American Immigration Lawyers Association. Now, these numbers are from dated mid-February 2021. So, of course, it's outdated by at least 2 months by the time you're watching this. Now, you've already watched some videos and learned that the Department of State has now resumed interviews. They've actually resumed it a while back. It was depending on, and still depending on, post by post. And when they say post, they really mean specifically the consulate or U.S. embassy location worldwide. And it's different from every location because, as you might predict, COVID-19 has hit different countries and on different levels, right? For example, we still have the proclamation with the travel ban in terms of, for example, Ireland, China, UK, South Africa, and Brazil, to name a few, and also countries within the Schengen area, and that includes many European countries. So with that, but even that, they're still interviewing some cases, mostly on the immigrant visa side. Now, we'll talk about that a little more. And right now, what they're trying to do, by the way, I have 18 pages worth of updates here, but we're going to share with you the most relevant, that is the most common situation. And we'll also create separate videos that are more specific. For example, Child Status Protection Act, because we've had some questions from y'all about that and what to do in those situations. So stay tuned, please. Now, to give you an idea on what the National Visa Center is in the Department of State, they're going to prioritize cases. They've stated that they're going to prioritize cases that are related to immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. Now, normally that would not include fiance or engaged couples. However, in this situation, they are including it because it's a case related to a U.S. citizen. And eventually, when you do get married in the United States, that would be considered immediate relative when you file the 485 application. Now, to share with you, as you know, again, the different consulates have different reopening time periods. Even if you see the visa wait time website on Department of State website, and it still says 999 on the chart, 999 to indicate that they're only having emergency appointments. That's not completely true. I've had clients scheduled for interviews, even though it still says that they're pretty much closed off or they are having emergency appointments. It really just depends on the country. What I suspect is that they don't want to provide miscommunication, misguidance on the exact time frame of having an interview because they really just don't know. They're just going with the flow. So I guess you could say they're trying to be as honest as possible, because if they don't want to guarantee 14 days of an interview date from the day that you file an application when they really can't honor that, right? So of course we would all be more frustrated. And we're still frustrated in this situation, so that's why we're providing this update for you. Now, some questions that our association asked that we were provided the answers is that, for example, will National Visa Center require new evidence, updated evidence about the, related to affidavit of support and financial evidence if the documents are more than 6 months old? And National Visa Center said no, they will not request additional information. Now, keep in mind, it could be case by case. It really depends how old, old, past dated your information is. But as a general rule, they're saying no, they're not going to require that because, of course, that will continue to delay your case. And at this point, most of you have probably already been DQ'd, documentarily qualified. Not the DQ to mean disqualified. This is completely different. So DQ in immigration context is a good thing. Now, they have a question that says, so should applicants continue to submit the DS-260 even if they know that the post is closed for routine processing? And National Visa Center responded saying, even though they have not stopped processing cases, applicants should continue to send in their fees, which is, by the way, $445 per person, per applicant, because some of y'all may have beneficiaries that also have kids. But this for immigrant visa, they should still continue to send the fees, the forms, and documents to the National Visa Center. Now I'll proceed to continue to refer to National Visa Center as NVC, and some of y'all are aware of that terminology acronym. So, but most importantly, if what you need to do is figure out if your case is qualified for an expedited emergency case, because you might know that every post is, for the most part, every consulate or embassy is allowing for expedited emergency cases. So it, of course, depends on your situation, on your facts. But what you can do is email NVC expedite@state.gov. Now, of course, anytime you send email to the government, especially National Visa Center, you want to provide the petitioner's name, the applicant's name, both persons' date of birth, your priority date, and your case number. And then, of course, your message, your question, or in this situation, the reasons why you qualify for expedited emergency appointment. Now, the next thing is, you could do it that way through email, or you can submit it on the online public inquiry form, which is eventually forwarded to the National Visa Center's expedite mailbox. But if you do it through the online public form, that would cause a little more delay. So I recommend sending that email. And that email address again is NVC expedite@state.gov. Now, some of the questions people had is, for example, by the way, some questions that our association had, National Visa Center didn't have the answers to. And part of it is because they're trying to figure out their technology. Unfortunately, even though we're in the year 2021, there still are some issues with technology and the government's vendor. For example, if they need to reopen the DS-260 or repay the fees. Even though the first one may have expired. Now, in terms of the COVID-19 impact to the staffing levels, the National Visa Center has stated that they're doing the best they can, essentially. Now, it also says that they don't provide numbers on exactly how many employees are currently staffed at each particular location, but they are saying that they do have contractors to assist with administrative support, such as data entry, document review, appointment scheduling, and digitizing the files and file storage, which is important because if the interviews are not scheduled, then you won't be able to get your visa. So even though they're contractors, and honestly, it doesn't matter if they're a W-2 employee or contractors, we just need to get them to get the job done and get you the interview. So That's what they're trying to do, is get staffed up with third-party contractors. They just won't. They're declining to say exactly who that is and how many they plan for each consulate. But that's what it appears to say, that they are trying to hire more people. So that is a good thing. So there are some situations because of COVID-19 that people are not able to get certain documents. Let's say, for example, another certified birth certificate. That in that situation, National Visa Center is saying if a document is unavailable, not available, the applicant should submit a detailed explanation, a detailed letter about why you were not able to obtain that document. So of course you'll be upfront, but that is one way you could do it. You could do it in the way you can present this document, give this document, is at the interview or to NVC by mail, if specifically instructed to. Okay. Now at the time of the interview, the officer will determine this on a case by case basis. So at the end of the day, I know you might ask, well, how do I get this document? Well, if that particular office in your country is not open, then all you can do is prepare this detailed letter. And the reason to do that, have this letter on paper, is because sure, you can explain it at the interview, but the officer could forget. So you need to have it on paper, because there's going to be so many cases that the government is going to process. And there's probably not enough time for all of them to write detailed notes. I mean, I hope so, but you don't want to rely on them to do that. So you should write a detailed letter on why your document is not available. If you haven't gotten the point, I like to repeat myself just in case you didn't hear it the first time, because it's very important. Now, in terms of, a lot of people have this similar next question is, how long does it take National Visa Center to create a new case number after the petition has been approved from USCIS? And just looking at the visa, at their website, the travelperiodstate.gov website, they're saying right now, for as of today, if they receive the petition from USCIS in March 23rd, they would have created it already by April 5th. So that's roughly about 2 weeks. Now, the second question people have is, at what point do they actually start reviewing the documents to make sure it's documentarily qualified, DQ, after submitting affidavit of support and supporting financial documents, for example, and also DS-260 from the applicant and the applicant's civil documents, such as like marriage certificate, the police certificate, police clearance letter, any of that sort. And as of April 5th, they're reviewing cases that are uploaded, all those documents, by January 25th. So that is about less than 4 months. But I say about 3 months, because it was the end of January and now it's the beginning of April. So about say 3 months. So that's not too bad. That's getting about back to the pre-COVID times. I'll say pre-COVID, on average about 1 to 2 months reviewing documents. So that's not too bad. All right, so let's see here. The other question people have is, how long does National Visa Center take to respond to an inquiry when submitting it on the online public inquiry form? And they're saying as of April 5th, they've been responding to inquiries received by March 23rd. So again, that's about 2 weeks, and that's a little bit later than I would personally like. I would think they could get it done in a couple of days, but they probably have, of course, as I stated before, hundreds of thousands of cases. So there's a little bit delay on that. Now, some other notes I want to share with you is, let's see here. How long? Okay, it says, okay, now, the other question is, if you haven't received a new case number in at least 10 weeks, then there's something you can do, all right? You don't need a lawyer. Of course, I recommend in general, you should have a lawyer by this time, just to make everything as smooth as possible. But what you can do, all right, is, send an email to NVC research@state period gov. Okay, and you want to provide all the same information I mentioned before: petitioner's name, petitioner's date of birth, applicant's name, applicant's date of birth, and the priority date, at least from the petition. Okay, and obviously you don't have the case number, so that's what you're asking for. So send an email to that email address, and we've done the same, and we've gotten the new NVC case number fairly quickly after that. Okay, so I noticed there's a lot more information that I could share. I just went through the first 8 pages, but again, there's 18 pages. So I will segment this off to separate videos because they're not as generalized. They're more detailed for other people, so other applicants. So I hope you've enjoyed the content. This is quite long. I thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe down below. Kindly hit the like button if you enjoyed our content or format, and we greatly appreciate that you've shared our video with your friends and colleagues. Until next time, my friends, please stay safe and wear your mask. Thank you very much.